This has to be like one of the worst music news videos I think I ever had to do. So for today, I actually only have bad news, sad news, more bad news, and more sad news. So I actually purposely just kind of grabbed a whole bunch of stuff to maybe offset some of the bad stuff we're going to be going over. You'll see what I mean in a minute. But yeah, unfortunately, this video is going to be a real downer, so bear with me on this one. So if you think there's any music news that I missed or didn't cover, do let me know down in the comments, and maybe I would actually do another news video. The other thing that I want to go over before we get started here is, again, I'm bringing this up because in December, everything is going to feel like it's a bit of a drought, but I'm kind of doing like I want to call it a Motorhead week, although I do know that there are actually going to be not just Motorhead stuff, but there's going to be other content as well, but it's going to be definitely Motorhead preferred. So between December 24 all the way to December 28, I'm going to be doing non-stop Motorhead favored content during that time period. I'm not going to really do any videos before the 24th. However, if there is a news video kind of similar to this, I will release that and act accordingly. But with all of that information out of the way, now we could actually get into the hard stuff. And man, so for this one, much like Max Payne, I think we all are going to be needing to find some help at the bottom of the bottle.
But tonight, the bottle let me down.
So there are actually two pieces of sad news that I need to cover here. This one is actually all the way back in May. So I actually got word that Rick Derringer passed away. And I kind of forgot about this only because music news was kind of slow. But I was actually reminded of another death, kind of unrelated to music, but definitely somebody that I know for sure. And chances are, even if you're not a fan of professional wrestling, you would know the name Hulk Hogan. So kind of more recently, Hulk Hogan passed away, and I just happened to be looking through old videos. I just happened to be looking through other information. I was just thinking of what music news I should be covering in the next music news video. Like here we are today. I was going further back than what I normally do, and I just happened to look and I was like, that's right. Rick Derringer actually passed away back in, I think it was, I want to say it was all the way back in May. I could be wrong. But as a wrestling fan, this was just kind of like hard information to just kind of take in, mostly because he pretty much made a song that pretty much summarized my childhood to some degree. And not only did we lose the guy that made the song Real American, but we also lost the pro wrestler that song was even made for. I don't want to get into it, but I'm fully aware a lot of people are not the biggest Hulk Hogan fans, and moments like that really kind of put a bad taste in my mouth and almost kind of makes me not want to be a fan of pro wrestling, because that is just, when somebody passes away, you just kind of let everything be water under the bridge. Just a couple of days ago, I got some new information. There's a guitarist by the name of Brent Hines. And Brent, he was a guitarist for Mastodon. And I just kind of find this a little bit interesting because I'm not the biggest Mastodon fan, but there was something else that did take place. Just making this video even feels like it's already bad as is. When Ozzy Osbourne, before he passed away, he did do his final show, his final concert, Back to the Beginning. And I actually have a tier list / review. If you guys want to check that out, I'll leave a link down in the description below. But what happened is I remember watching the Back to the Beginning concert, the Mastodon set. They were the ones that actually opened for the show. I thought that was really cool. And they were actually one of my more favorite performances throughout the entire night. The only reason why I didn't give them S tier is because I didn't really know them. But beyond not knowing them and not being the biggest fan, I did really love everything that I heard. And if I was a fan, I would absolutely put them at S tier for sure. So Mastodon is kind of on my radar now, and I definitely want to check out more of their music. And it's just kind of sad now to hear about Brent Hinds passing away. Mastodon themselves actually even had a post. I'm not gonna read what they posted, but I am gonna put it up on screen now. Basically, Mastodon just giving their condolences to Brent Hinds. To my knowledge, with Brent Hinds, he actually did pass away through a motorcycle accident, so that is just terrible to hear, and your mind just kind of goes to, if only things maybe changed, maybe he would still be around. But yeah, it's terrible to hear that Brent Hinds passed away, and at this moment in time, because I don't really know Mastodon that well, but I now have like a somewhat of an invested interest in checking them out. I definitely do have a couple of Mastodon projects that I am thinking about coming up with. So I'm actually a little late on this piece of information, but if anyone knows me, knows who I am, I'm pretty invested in a lot in the Japanese metal scene. So I'm kind of looking up a whole bunch of different Japanese metal and rock bands, and if anything even remotely picks up any interest, I definitely want to do more videos on them. And I'm sad that I only have one video in the works. I actually released it not that long ago, but a band, Aldious, unfortunately called it quits. Now, I think the exact phrase I should be using is hiatus, so maybe we might see Aldious make a comeback, but I don't know, man. So many times I hear of bands and artists taking a hiatus, and so many times it feels like it takes forever to see anybody make a slight comeback. So, but who knows, maybe things would change and maybe Aldious might come back. But then there's also the possibility it would be kind of interesting to see what projects they might actually fall into. So who knows. Now, I will say this one feels like it's a shot in the heart here, because the next up is Megadeth. So, to my understanding, Megadeth on their official website had a countdown timer, and when that countdown timer reached 0, there was a video message that the band came up with. Apparently, it's a little controversial there as well. I'll get into that in just a second. But what ended up happening is Megadeth, in so many words, they are calling it quits. They are planning on doing I guess you could say, a final tour, and they are also going to be releasing a final album in 2026. Now, I actually do have some Megadeth videos that I have planned, and I can't wait to get to those editing. But I do have one video with Megadeth story behind the song In My Darkest Hour. So I'll leave a link to that down in the description below if you want to check that out. But yeah, Megadeth, they are calling it quits after all these years, and this is just sad, man. But I did also hint that there was something controversial. So what's the big deal? Well, unfortunately, the video, a lot of people didn't really like the Megadeth video for multiple reasons. But the big one is they used a lot of AI assets. I do notice that there are some people that they just hear AI and just flip their lid and just hate everything. I get it when you have like a good purpose, but using AI in general, I want to say, to summarize it, it makes sense if you are doing it like in a form of art and it's meant to be as art. But I want to say it's a tad bit different when people are just using it to cut down on time. They want something that looks real good, that is polished and quick and simple. And I think for this particular video that I am going to be playing on screen, they're just doing a trailer to just give everybody the news. I don't think it's that big of a deal. But beyond the AI stuff, there is one other thing that Megadeth fans didn't like, and that has to deal with their mascot. So at the end of the Megadeth video, we are greeted to Megadeth's mascot himself, Vic Rattlehead. Now, if you know the history and overall premise of Vic Rattlehead, the character is supposed to be kind of in the sense of see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. That's the reason why you have the chains around the ears. It's kind of like closing and sealing up the ears. The mouth is welded shut, and that's why there's a big piece of metal over the eye sockets. And the fact that they kind of gave him a voice now, and that he's talking when his mouth is welded shut.
For 4 decades, I've been chained in silence, but the end demands my voice.
I can see an argument there to where maybe they could have changed that up to kind of keep the continuity. But regardless of all the controversies to all of this is, hey, we have a final album and we have a final tour coming up. So I don't see any of this as that big of a deal. So now comes to the end of the video, and I definitely tried my best to try and put together a bunch of music news to where we could just kind of lighten the mood a little bit, because up until this point we only just heard nothing but bad news and nothing but sad news. So what information do we have to where we could lighten the mood? Well, for one, I don't know if I'm going to do any videos on this. I probably will consider it. At least right now, at the time of this recording, I can say BABYMETAL did release their brand new album, Metal 4th, so that's awesome. So I actually want to give a huge thanks to my comment section on the Aldious reaction We Are video. So in my comment section, someone did post that Sawa, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe she is the bassist. She actually might have got into a brand new band already. I might do a video on this just to check out this band, and it is going to be kind of exciting to see, you know, how does this band compare to Aldious. I'm sure I'm not going to be the only one that's going to be thinking that. I believe the name is First Contact. On their official YouTube channel, they only have a teaser trailer, and they have, I believe, 2 singles right now. Depending on how fast this new band develops, I could imagine that we'll probably see an EP at some point soon. So I actually just finished uploading and I had to delete the video and add this tidbit in there. Apparently a lot of news with the Aldious bassist, Sawa. So the band First Contact actually did get their first album out, Peace Million. So I'm a little bit dated, I guess, on this information the last time I checked. It feels like it was different from discovery, recording, and editing, and then uploading. So, my bad. Links to all of this will be in the description below. And when I first discovered this, they did not have a Spotify, and I'm looking at it right now, apparently. Now, I am actually very excited to check out this brand new single. So I brought this band up in my video, New Discoveries. So I did a video, New Discoveries 1, and it's basically a video of bands that I just kind of have my eye on and just kind of feel like they're a little bit underrated. And it may be a bunch of names that I think some of you guys may not be too familiar with. I just want to put a spotlight on them to some degree. That's pretty much what the video is all about, and one of the bands I mentioned in there is a band called The Pretty Reckless. And Taylor Momsen always knocks it out of the park. She does great rock and roll music, and I'm always excited to see what's around the next corner with her. And I think what I'm probably going to do is I am going to check out this brand new single. The new single is called For I Am Death. I do know there's a handful of songs I absolutely love from Pretty Reckless, so I'm probably going to do a video on those first, but I am going to check this particular single out because it seems good to me. So I'm definitely excited to see how this fares. And if it does hold up to some of the classics I'm familiar with from Taylor Momsen and The Pretty Reckless, if it does hold up, you might see a reaction video on For I Am Death. And that is pretty much going to wrap it up for me today. And yeah, so I'll love to hear some of your thoughts down in the comment section below. Do let me know if you think there are music news stuff that you think I missed and maybe should cover. Again, I'll love to hear about all of that in the comments. And I just want to say this one last and final time because I think it's going to feel odd on the channel come December with Motorhead week. Again, it's going to feel like there's a drought, but every single day from December 24th to the 28th, I am going to be releasing a brand new video. Chances are it's going to be Motorhead preferred, and I can't wait to share all of that with you guys. Still need a workout. I still do need a workout, all of that stuff, but I'll keep you guys posted on any updates and information. And I think that's going to do it for me today. Born to lose, live to win. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.